we're doing our new Dyneema Lifelines. Oh no! Alright, today we are working on lifelines. So basically we have 4 lifelines, and for each we have one of these adjustable like toggle. I'm just in the process of shutting up the boat because we just got a call, emergency cesarean in town, so we're heading in. Alright, so it's been about probably 40 minutes since we got the phone call about the puppies. Well, hopefully puppies, the mum that can't give birth. We've got all our stuff, Brenda's got the rest of everything, heading to the vet clinic.
It's probably too far to really come out on the GoPro, but it might.
I don't know, yeah, I think you can see the mountain. It's pretty. Darling. Oh no. She's actually got a little puppy and a tongue there, so the puppy's probably not alive, but she's definitely got more. Huh?
Whenever you're ready.
So since she is a nice calm dog, unlike that one, I'm doing as much of the cleaning and preparation before we actually go in for surgery. So she's had no anesthetic, which means the puppies also have had no anesthetic. Once the puppies are out, you know, it's not as big a deal. But basically we do this to minimize the anesthetic risks on the puppies because we want to get them babies out as quick as we can. Shimiti? Oh, well done. Oh, she's such a good girl, you poor darling. Can I shave a little leg too when you see it? Oh my God. Oh, I know it's scary. It's scary, isn't it, shaving a little leg? Lucky she's a good girl. It's really stuck. I'm trying to get this puppy out. Its head's stuck in the uterine canal. Muy feo. A bit crazy with that eye. Es muerto. Oh, she looks crazy. Alright, so we did a combined cesarean and a spay. So she won't have any more babies. The baby that was still in the uterus was already dead. Brenda tried to resuscitate it. And the one that was stuck had been dead since at least 8 AM this morning, so it's been a few hours. And unfortunately what happens is their little heads swell when they're stuck outside like that. And so the problem is you can't pull them in or push them out because the shoulders are too big and the head's too big and they're stuck in the canal. So that's why we had to, I guess, amputate the head of the puppy so we could pull the body out from the uterus and the head out from the vagina. So yeah, a bit sad, but the good thing is Mummy's okay and now she won't have any more babies, and she would have definitely died if we didn't do the surgery because that puppy was never ever going to move. So I'm glad Mummy's okay because she's very sweet. There you go, baby girl. What's that? The chicken's just like screamed in her face when I put her in here. So today we're doing our new Dyneema Lifelines. So we've got a few tools. We've got the Lifelines, the Dyneema rope itself. It's a 6mm one. We have this little protective covering. We're not using it on the entire line, but what we're going to be doing is doing sections that run through the stanchions just to help reduce the chafe on the Dyneema. We've got the turnbuckle attachments for one end, and then just the plain little attachment for the other. A little splicing needle and some twine. So these fittings are made to actually do your eye directly onto them. So they don't open and close, which means you can't do usually you do like a Brummel locking splice here, but you can't do that directly onto this. So what we'll be doing is a more kind of easy version of a splice where we simply pass the rope through inside of itself, and then we'll be putting a few stitches up here with the twine to lock it into place. It's very, very strong. It does have a little bit of stretch, so we'll be making them kind of only just fit, with the idea that over the next few days, weeks, we tighten them so that we have nice, strong and tight lifelines.
Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Ready?
Yeah.
Is that where you want me to cut it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was easy.
Yeah.
Cut this one?
This stanchion's very thin. Yeah. Oh, I don't know how much I love not having lifelines. It's scary. And to show you why we are redoing our lifelines, this was a job that I did when I very first bought Chuffed, was I replaced the lifelines on her, but all we could get was like from like one of the local like hardware stores, like, you know, one of those big chain hardware, Home Depot, Bunnings style, was this plastic covered stainless steel. And so we actually did an easy splice where you pull the stainless steel strands apart and then just wrap them back together, and then secured it with one of these little fellas. And you can see this was going on close to 4 years now. The stainless steel held up pretty good where it was covered with the plastic. However, that is rusty as. It was just like garden equipment, definitely not made to withstand the boat, and it was meant to be a quick fix that we would replace after 6 months to a year, and now 3.5 years later we're finally doing it. This is how we are going to do the splice. First, I've marked where I want my little eye to be, so it'll sit like this. Then what we're going to do is measure. Now, there's a bit of debate as to how long you need your like tail end of the rope to be. Some people use 72 times the diameter of the rope. The company that I've bought all this stuff through, they use 2 FID measurements, which is a FID measurement is 21 times the diameter of the rope, so it would be 42 times. I'm kind of settling in the middle at 50 times. So I'll be doing 30 centimeters because it's a 6mm rope. Yeah, so we got this in place. We're gonna measure out 30 centimeters. Okay. And then I've marked where I'm going to cut there. On the opposite side, where we're eventually going to have to thread the rope through, we want to go basically a third of that measurement longer. So in my case, I use 30 centimeters as my measurement, so I'll be doing 45 centimeters, and that's so that when you bury the rope, it's well and truly buried. So I've been using a knife to cut it, because I found with the scissors it just really like ends up fraying the edges, whereas a really sharp knife, well, X-Acto blade I should say, it's not a knife, it's more like a scalpel blade, gets through it quite nicely without fraying the edges. So now what we want to do is taper our end so that when we bury it, instead of just ending up with a fat section then a skinny section, it kind of starts thick and then looks nice and tapered, so it looks prettier. So the way to do that is I've already marked where my eye is going to be. So from where my eye starts, I count down 6 little V's in the rope. So 2 like little rope strands like this. So I count down the 6 strands, mark it, then count every 5 after that all the way down, then pull out those strands and cut them off. And that way this part kind of stays thicker, a little thinner, a little thinner, a little thinner. So we'll do that now. It takes a little bit of time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then what I'm going to do is use my fid, borrowed off Andreas because I realized the ones that I had were a little bit big for this job, and pull out the strand. And I just repeat that all the way up. So once I've done that, you can see how pretty it looks. We're just going to cut off each of those strands. And now you can kind of see how that goes from thicker to thinner now. All right. Now we do the splicing part. Okay, so I find my little markings so I know where I want to go in and out. And then I find the mark I made here. So I've got kind of 2/3 of it taken up with this end and then a third extra to bury it. Now I'm going to poke it in to the end of the fid. And I'm also placing, in theory, this has a little tiny hook here that holds the rope in place. But if you lose it, it's pretty annoying. So I am going to put a little tape here too, just to give a little extra security so that doesn't come out. All right. Now let's go back to our threading. You can see the rope gets thicker as I go inside of it. And this is what helps give it a lot of its strength, because when you pull it tight, this clamps down on the rope inside of it. And I find it easier to push the rope onto the fid rather than trying to push the fid through the rope, if that makes sense. So rather than like forcing my way up, I grab the rope and push it down onto the fid, and it seems to help open the rope up more so that it doesn't get as easily caught. Find a little exit. Pull my stuff through. We can untape the rope. We can untape this part of the rope too. He disappears inside. Straighten it all out. And voila! It is spliced. Now this is actually surprisingly strong and difficult to pull this out. To get this back out again, you really have to like kind of slacken this line up to pull it out. It is doable, but that's kind of how you'd have to do it. But the problem is we can't guarantee this won't ever become slack. And so with this type of splice, because it's not locked, what we're going to do with this twine is put 3 stitches that run in this direction, so you end up with 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3 on the back, and then you turn it 90 degrees and do it on the side. So essentially you end up with 3 stitches on the front and the back and 3 on the sides, and then you tie those together at the end and bury your little knot so you can't see it. And so you do have a little bit of twine on the outside here, but it's not very obvious. Some people will then wrap it with twine as well just to make it look prettier, but we're not so worried about those things on Chuffed. And yeah, that locks it in place, stops it from being able to slip, and voila. Okay, so to kind of show you, you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, to lock it into place. Then you can do a square knot. I like to do a surgeon's square knot, which is, instead of just going once like that and then back, you actually go twice. 1, 2, tie it down flat and square, and then come back the other way in the opposite direction and do the same thing. And then it's pretty easy to bury that knot inside so you can't see it anymore. And then that stops this slipping. And you can barely see it. So you can see we're going to need to tighten that up, but yeah. And you'll also notice that I've used these Anti-Chafe Guards. Some people run this the whole way along the line, and I do agree it would look beautiful to do that, but they're not super cheap, that this stuff. So we've chosen to just do it periodically to prevent chafing. Didn't go. There we go. I'm going to speed that part up for you, but it is 10 minutes and 20 seconds right now to do one. So it doesn't take a crazy amount of time. This admittedly is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th time I've done it, so getting faster. The lifelines are finished. Need to be tightened up a little bit, but yeah, only took 3 days. They're done! Woo! Dyneema Lifelines! No. Is this a fid? I don't know. I think it's called a Swedish fid.